What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this is kind of a spontaneous video. I was thinking of making something along the lines of this, and you know what? I think I'm going to do it. I want to talk about what is the worst Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Now, this is fresh on the top of my head. In celebration, hopefully, of the Johnny Depp trial, I have watched all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies over the last 2 days. I watched 1 through 3 Friday night, and I watched 4 and 5 Saturday night. And boy, am I into the... I actually am deeply saddened that there's no more, and I want more, obviously, with Johnny. So, and I was thinking of maybe re-ranking them, doing like an updated ranking. I can definitely do that if you guys want to see it. But I want to talk about the worst one, because this one is kind of debatable, at least in my mind, and I think in other people's mind. And for the longest time, let's just kind of jump in. For the longest time, I would have said 4. I would have said On Stranger Tides is the worst movie. And by the way, worst being least favorite. Not necessarily like a garbage pile of a movie. I think actually all the movies are pretty good. I think 4 and 5 are still fine movies, at worst. I think they're fine. They're definitely, to me, 4 and 5 don't even touch 1 through 3. So it really is a competition between the two. So let me talk about their strengths and their weaknesses, because again, my opinion has always been 4 is the worst, but I think I can talk myself into reversing it. I think I can talk myself into 5 being the worst, because 4 has a lot going for it. A lot. More, again, than I ever really gave it credit for. I think in terms of the performance by Jack, it's one of his best performances. Now, I think he's so good, again, in 1 through 3, but I really think he shines specifically in 2 and 3, and I think, and I've always said this, 3 is my favorite. 3 is my favorite of the entire franchise, and 3 is it's my favorite version of Jack Sparrow. 4 would probably be next. To be honest with you, he's in 4 a lot, arguably too much, and that is, I think, a detriment to the movie, where not everything needs to revolve around specifically him. I think it was done like that because they really didn't have a supporting cast. Scrum is nowhere near Pintel and Righetti, right? That was obviously the idea. Scrum is not even close. You have Philip and Serena, who are fine, really just fine, but they're nothing more and maybe nothing less. They are very underwhelming, again, when you're replacing Elizabeth and Will. You're replacing Elizabeth and Will with Philip and Serena, and it's not even in the same stratosphere. And then you also have Blackbeard, who's not even remotely close to Barbossa in the first one, and then it's not even the same stratosphere as Davy Jones. And Beckett to a small degree, but Davy Jones obviously, I think, carried the villain role for the most part in 2 and 3, right? So that's, I think, why you have to put Jack in the forefront so much on Stranger Tides, is because he's really the shining star. And then even his love interest in Angelica, I really wanted to give it to her, right? Because I've always really hated Angelica. We've even made videos of that in the past. And not everybody agrees. In fact, a lot of people don't agree, and that's fine. I wanted to give her a chance. I just can't. So here's the thing. Pirates 4, again, I do think is actually underrated or undervalued in probably 75% of the movie. I actually think it's pretty good. It's got some very good witty jokes. It's got some different locations. Barbossa shines a lot when it focuses on him. I actually really like the opening, really the entire opening, including Jack's whole shenanigans. And even if you want to start with him being the judge, I actually really, really like that. So there's a lot of really good comedy. There's a lot of really good just scenes in general. I love it when Jack realizes, he's on the Queen Anne's Revenge with Blackbeard. Like, there's so much that is really good. There's some cool fighting scenes, sword fights. The thing is, 4 in general is just such a massive step back from 2 and 3, right? Can we all agree? And that was probably purposeful, because it's like, well, you're restarting it. You have to, a lot of the cast, you have to find new cast, and you're going to build up. So you'd imagine like 4, 5, 6, eventually it'll, in a way, replicate 1, 2, 3. And even, the sword fight with him and Angelica somewhat mirrors him with Will. Not exactly, but it's close enough for them to call it that, right? So, but it's just such a huge step back from specifically what we just had in 3, right? There's nothing that touches even the smallest big moment of 3. The Singapore fight, or Up is Down, or like nothing. Really, specifically, obviously, the ending, right? None of those big moments in 3 ever can get replicated in any way by 4. The Fountain of Youth is the closest thing, and even that, they cut it short. They cut it short because the Spanish come and they just destroy it, right? So I do think for the most part I have been too hard on 4, but here's the thing. Here's what really hurts it to me is Angelica. Philip and Serena are so kind of underwhelming that I don't really care about. Like they don't actually hurt it all that much, so much as they're just not really in it for me to care. You know what I mean? So for me, Angelica really is, and Blackbeard. Blackbeard not being a strong villain. Those two really are like the damning things in Pirates 4. I like the idea of Barbossa. I like the idea that they kind of spoil it, where it's like, hey, he needs the fountain because in 7 days or whatever, like a man with a one leg, which we know who that is going to kill him. And we know Barbossa probably, we don't know at the time how the Black Pearl was lost, but you can infer. And it's like, well, duh. So you know that it's going to end most likely with Barbossa, which I like. I actually really like Barbossa being the one to, Barbossa, I guess, really wounded him, and then Jack finished him off. Well, technically Angelica did, right? It depends on how you feel. But here's the thing. The reason I hate Angelica so much is because she's a really dumb character, specifically at the end. In the beginning, middle, whatever, I do think, shows that she's not dumb, and I think she is kind of confused and doesn't really know where Blackbeard's place is in all of this, right? Because she kind of can sense, like, well, does he actually love me, or is it all an act, or whatever? But then the thing is, at the very end, which this is important, like the endings are important, and at the very end, when she drinks the thing, the tear, and then she finds out Jack tricked them, she flips out on Jack, and then the whole ending of her being so mad, when he's sailing her towards the island, is like, he hated you. Blackbeard did not love you. He was using you. He was going to use you to take your life for his. That was the whole, or maybe Jack's. But in the time, he wanted you to sacrifice yourself to save him. He never loved you. And it's not like it was a one-time thing. The pistols, right? There were other times that showed that, no, Blackbeard doesn't actually love you. So it's like, why are you so upset at Jack? Because he was right. He told you what was going to happen, and it's exactly what I don't get. And it's just so blatant to me. I can't get over it. Like the mermaid scene, I think is awesome. There's again, like the mermaid scene actually, by the way, is probably the standout. The mermaid scene is really, really cool, both when they're attacking the shore and just the singing, and then discovering the mermaids in the first place. Really cool. And it's about time we see mermaids too in this universe. So I really like that. But that ending really hurts it. To me, the ending almost kills it. Again, I like the sword fight. I like Blackbeard versus Barbossa. That was cool. But it's like, I just don't. I like that Barbossa, kills him in a way, or he was gonna kill him. But it's like, I can't get over how dumb Angelica ended up becoming. But here's the thing. That really is the worst part, and just its underwhelmingness, right? Philip and Serena, underwhelming. It not even touching 1 through 3, underwhelming, and coming off right after it. I mean, it's 4 years after At World's End in real time. I think it's closer to like 10, 12 years in movie time in the lore. It's more a decade plus, but it's just, you know what I mean? It's that I think is the worst part. In terms of 5, 5 is tough because 5 is also pretty underwhelming. The worst thing about 5, okay, I think Salazar is better than Blackbeard. I have to stand on that. I truly do believe that. Jack is the worst. He is. And I'm at a point where I understand it. I'm also not going to blame Johnny for it. I understand it. And movie-wise, it makes sense how it's happening in terms of the curse. Now, actually, there is some confusion in terms of why Jack is acting that way. I am fully prepared because, by the way, I'll give you a reason. I'm fully prepared that the curse that Shansha, however you say her name, the witch, placed on Barbossa's enemies, that was on Jack too. Because later in it, Barbossa says to Salazar, Jack Sparrow is an enemy to us all. I think that's the line. So that was the confirmation that Jack is, in Barbossa's mind, in a way, he would never kill him, but in a way, he is the enemy. And so the curse applied to Jack. So Jack's bad luck, his string of bad luck, is because of that curse placed really by Barbossa. Okay? So I'm willing to accept that. I'm not willing to accept, though, that I just don't like him all that much. I mean, he has some just really. Here's the thing: you can have bad luck. Jack Sparrow can be down on his luck, but he doesn't have to act like Willy Wonka. He doesn't have to act like Mad Hatter, which is really the two characters that Mad Hatter is what he portrayed most. And I don't get it. I don't get the whole why would you be waiting for me? Why would you be waiting for me? It's like there's some really bad lines by Jack throughout the movie. And it's horribly disappointing because he really carries 4. He carries 4. And then 1 through 3, he is an integral part that you can't not have. And he maybe is the most important of those movies as well, but he never has nearly as many bad lines or any bad lines compared to 5. I mean, it's even the cut. I watched like behind the scenes. I've watched it before, but there's behind the scenes or cut dialogue in 4 where he kind of like just goes off the cuff. That's funnier. That's better than anything that made the movie in 5, which, you know what I mean? So like the cut things in 4 are better than 5, which is scary. So he's just really disappointing. And then, you know, the rest of the movie, Barbossa carries. Barbossa carries the movie. Henry and Karina I really do like. I've always liked them. I liked them from day one. When I first saw the movie, I said, these two are good. I have no problem if they, continuing it with them. They're better than Philip and Serena. Like, all of that. I truly believe that. So, fine. You know what I mean? Like, I have nothing, really, I have nothing glaring. Karina is one of my favorite characters in 5, so I really can't say anything bad about those two. Those two are pretty darn, Henry, no, I mean, Henry, people I don't think liked him at the time. I mean, I like his charisma. I think he's cool. He's like an energetic kid. Not really kid. He's older than me. But you know what I mean? He's like, he just comes across that way. So I have no problem with that. The thing with 5, I really think, is budget constraints. I mean, there's the sword fighting in it is almost non-existent. Completely non-existent, which is horrifying to me. A lot of it takes place on a boat with just characters talking, which is actually okay. But I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean, come on. There's one ship fight. 2, maybe, like there's very little action in this film. It opens so well. It opens well and it closes perfectly. Okay, I love the beginning. I love the end. I love Barbossa's sacrifice. Here's the thing. Without the strongest parts of 5, I do think it is easily this is tough. I really want to talk myself into 5 being the worst, but like Barbossa's sacrifice, the opening, Henry finding the Dutchman and talking to Will, the ending, sailing beyond his beloved horizon. Like, there's a lot of really, the best parts in 5 are better than anything in 4. Then the worst parts of 5 are worse than anything in 4. So, well, I don't know, because Angelica is so bad. It's tough. It's really tough. The end. And by the way, again, like, I guess when I say Angelica is so bad, I mean her decision-making and her rationale at the end. Again, I actually don't think she's a bad character throughout the film, but in that last, 20-25% of the film, I definitely don't like her. So, it's tough. I still probably, I don't know. I'm going to leave it as a toss-up because it really can go either way, just to kind of leave you guys off on a really, truly disappointing note. 4 has always been my least favorite. I may just keep it that way just for the sake of it, right? Because 5, I don't know. Again, the thing with 5 is the best parts of 5 are better than any parts of 4. So then it's like, well, even the weakest parts of 5 does does Jack sink the movie? No. I don't think Jack fully sinks the movie. I think the budget really hurts the film. By the way, the redoing of things, like the Flying Dutchman never had the name on the back. So adding it, and these directors had a thing for that, like you have to show the name of the ship on the back of the ship every time. That was so stupid. So dumb. You don't need the name Flying Dutchman on the back of the Flying Dutchman. You just have the ship. We all know what it looks like. And if you don't know, then just watch the other movies and you'll figure it out quite. You know what I mean? It's like, that was so dumb. Redoing the compass was atrocious. Like the worst thing humanly possible that the compass thing, and even the tribute I don't like. The Salazar named him Sparrow. See, again, there's some horrible stuff. Jack Sparrow was only known as Jack until he defeated Salazar, and Salazar named him Sparrow, but then he died. So or is he saying other people named him Sparrow because of that? But how would he know that? Unless they sailed into the Devil's Triangle, he murdered them, but before he murdered them, they told him that. Like, how do you even know that? How do you know that he was named Sparrow because of that? I mean, those two things alone are just show me that they really didn't understand pirates. The writer didn't understand. I mean, none of these people understood it. So, and again, the way they took Jack, you just didn't need to do that. He could be down on his luck. He literally was hunted by Davy Jones. He literally died. He was in the locker. He was mad. He was upset. He was hallucinating. You could argue that was like the low point of his life. This, to the point that he would trade in his compass for a thing of alcohol. Like, why would you do that? So, like, there's ways of making him down on his luck, but then to make him an idiot for most of the movie and just this, Mad Hatter-like character when it's not Jack. Again, I'm willing to buy why he's down on his luck, but I don't think you needed to take it as far as you did. So that's my opinion. I would still probably say 4 just because I really love Barbossa in 5, and I really love the ending of 5. I think it's phenomenal. And there's some really cool shots in 5, and Salazar is pretty cool. Salazar does not touch Davy Jones or any of them, but I think he is better than Blackbeard. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on for more videos like this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all on the next video.